And the anti-Waqf law plea in Supreme Court with Kapil Sibal taking up the anti-Waqf law plea. This as the Council of Jamiat, multiple anti-Waqf pleas have been put forward before the Supreme Court of the country. The anti-Waqf law plea is before the Chief Justice of India-led bench. The CJI says urgent matters before us in the afternoon is what is being said. This was expected with a couple of petitions before the Supreme Court of India as far as the Waqf law is concerned. These are petitions which have been clubbed together. We'll be going across to my colleagues for more on that. But this is what is there before the Supreme Court. Kapil Sibal mentioning the plea challenging the Waqf Amendment before the bench led by the CJI. Sibal mentioned the plea filed by Jamiat Ulema-e-Hind's President Maulana Arshad Madani. I'm going to go across to Shrishti for more on that. Shrishti, is this a couple of petitions before the court, or is this the one that is being mentioned by Kapil Sibal? That's like one plea from the Jamiat.
Senior Advocate Kapil Sibal today mentioned one petition against the Waqf Amendment Act, which has been filed by Jamiat Ulema-e-Hind's President Maulana Arshad Madani. After he mentioned the case, we also saw two more lawyers join in, Senior Advocate Advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi for one of the parties and also Advocate Nizam Pasha. So multiple pleas as of today have been mentioned before court, all of whom have challenged the Waqf Amendment Act which has been brought in. The Chief Justice of India responded to the mentioning by saying that the matters will be coming up and all urgent matters, as the procedure has been set, will be placed before the CJI in the afternoon, and he will do the needful. He in fact also questioned the lawyers as to why they're making an oral mention for listing when there's already a fixed system in place where a request is made and the CJI then takes a call after the matters are placed before him. So he has said that the needful will be done. The one that we're talking, the one petition which was mentioned by Mrs. Sibal, filed by Jamiat's president, has challenged the constitutionality of the Waqf Act, and not just that, it has also sought interim directions to the government to defer bringing the new law into force after centre's notification of the Waqf Amendment Act. So multiple different directions have been sought in this plea. They have sought that an ad interim ex parte direction be issued to the central government to defer the issuance of the notification which they're supposed to under the Amendment Act, which would bring into that particular law and the provisions of the Act in force. They've called these amendments destructive to the Waqf administration and also said that this amendment is basically an effort that has been made to redefine the very nature of Waqfs as it exists as of now in the country. So a batch of pleas, as we know, have already been filed. The information that we receive is that more petitions are likely to be filed soon before the court. When will these matters be listed by the CJI? Something that remains to be seen that day.
Shrishti, what about the other petitions? Because there are just so many. Talk to us about the possibility of them being clubbed together. Also, by this afternoon, this will be listed. So what next as far as the legal protocol, the legal procedure is concerned?
The matters will not be listed by the afternoon.
Okay.
The CJI has only given an assurance that all the matters that come up before the Chief Justice of India, which are required to be listed, a bunch of urgent matters are all placed before the CJI, and then accordingly, based on the matter and the urgency in the matter, the CJI will then assign a date for hearing. So the matter could be listed from tomorrow to any day after that, based on how much urgency does the Chief Justice of India think the matters requires as far as urgency is concerned. Now coming back to your earlier question about pleas filed against the Waqf Act, we have seen multiple petitions which have been filed, including Congress leaders Mohammad Javed, AIMIM MP Asaduddin Owaisi, Association for Protection of Civil Rights, AAP leader Amanatullah Khan. and many more persons. Interesting here to note is also that many of these petitions were in fact filed before the act even received President's assent. So technically, if you look at those petitions, if they're listed before the court, in all likelihood, the court would be asking them, the court could possibly ask them to also amend their pleas, because the procedure, as the procedure normally goes, is that these matters, when you're challenging the constitutional validity of any particular act, that act needs to be enforced, that act needs to at least be notified and should have had received President's assent. Some of those pleas were filed a bit prematurely, so it will be important to see what the court will say in terms of those pleas which were filed before the court challenging the act, before the act even received President's assent. But we know the one that was mentioned by Senior Advocate Kapil Sibal today was filed after the act had received President's assent. Once the CJI takes a call on when the matter will be listed, in all likelihood, the matters will be clubbed together, as we have seen for several matters in the past. Also, consider when the matters concern of multiple petitions are filed concerning the same issue, they are clubbed and heard together. Back to you.
Be with us. I'm just coming back to you, staying with the buff war that has broken out. Banned PFI's political arm here is in court again. SDPI plea in the Supreme Court against the new Waqf law. After Congress, Ally Muslim League in the Supreme Court, IUML to rope in veteran lawyer Kapil Sibal. So Kapil Sibal, they're being roped in, Shrishti, by the Indian Union Muslim League as well. What more can you tell us?
Well, yes, that's what we're hearing, Sneha, that they are also going, as I just mentioned, multiple petitions are also still in the pipeline from what we are hearing from our sources. SDPI has filed a petition. Indian Union Muslim League has also announced that it will move Supreme Court and in all likelihood will engage Kapil Sibal as their lawyers. One thing that we also see in these cases when there are multiple petitions on the same issue is that they do happen to engage the same senior lawyer. Multiple parties can engage the same senior lawyer. A lawyer in this case, because at the end of the day, when the matters are argued before the Supreme Court, the court will, in all likelihood, will not hear each and every lawyer in detail. The matters are set up in a way where the court sets up days for when the arguments are supposed to begin, makes a list of lawyers who are supposed to argue, especially in detailed matters like this that have questioned constitutional validity of a particular act. But as of now, when the matters come up before the Supreme Court, the first thing that to see would be the Supreme Court entertains it, decides to issue notice, seek a response from centre, and that is something we'll know once the matters get listed. As of now, the parties who have challenged the Waqf Amendment Act have clearly shown a sense of urgency, because despite filing the matter, they've also not just sought listing of the case, they've also made an oral mentioning before the top court requesting the CJI to list their matters and have expressed a sense of urgency as far as these particular petitions are concerned. When will these matters be listed is something that we'll have to wait in all likelihood. We will know soon when the CJI decides to list these matters and eventually hear them. Back to you.
All right, I'm going to thank you, Shrishti Oja, getting in those details as far as those matters before the Supreme Court of India against the Waqf bill, against the Waqf law rather, is concerned.